Hi, this is Ben from Berscak Custom Guitars, and today we're going to go over how to clean and do some regular maintenance on your guitar. And as always, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification, and be sure to go over on Instagram and follow us over there at Berscak Custom Guitars. So for today's video, we're going to be using my Epiphone ES333 Tom DeLonge signature. I got this used at Guitar Center's used site, which means it's kind of a little bit sight unseen. They do post photos, however they're usually pretty low quality. Even if you zoom in, you really can't see much detail in those photos. They're usually not very well taken, and generally speaking they're not too good. So the good thing is that Guitar Center has a really awesome return policy even for used gear. It's kind of no risk, because you can just bring it back to your local Guitar Center store and return it. Pretty much no questions asked. It's clear this guitar has either never been cleaned or has been sitting for a while, and it's a little dirty. It needs a basic cleaning and just a once over. It's nothing we can't fix, so let's go over it. So just from first appearances, it's definitely noticeable that this guitar is used. Okay, getting a little closer here, you can see some on the finish here, some of the issues, and this is a matte finish guitar, so you can see some areas where it's glossed over from where it's been played. Someone's arm was definitely rubbing against the side of this thing at some point, which caused it to gloss up a little bit. And there's some imperfections. There's some little chips here and there in the paint, but nothing too major. Overall, it's in fairly decent condition. But as you move over here to the bridge and pickup area, it's a little cruddy, it's a little grody. The pickup is a little rusty, at least the pull pieces are. But you can just kind of see it's just a little cruddy, just a little gunky. Alright, and moving up the neck here, no real issues. The frets aren't too bad. They could definitely use a quick polishing, but there's no major dings, dents, no damage to the frets whatsoever. And then moving up on here to the nut, we can see, if we look closely, that this nut has been replaced. It's actually a Graphtec Tusk XL nut that was not properly fitted to the guitar. So the previous owner just slapped the new nut on there, and it has not been fitted properly, so we'll address that also. You can see here how much wider the nut is than the neck. Those ends poke out a little bit. They're not sharp, but again, we just have to get it dialed in there. And moving on to the side of the guitar, again, we could just see some wear where the finish has kind of glossed over a little bit from normal playing. And then over here up on the neck joint, there's a little tiny crack. I don't know if you can see it right there, but there we go. So that appears just to be a finish crack. It doesn't appear to be anything structural. So that was not disclosed in the description, but not a big deal, because again, it's not structural, so it doesn't really bother me too much. And there's a little bit of rash here from where the previous owner had a strap. Looks like the previous owner installed strap locks on there, so nice job. But moving up the neck, no real issues here up until we get closer to the first fret. There's a couple little chips in the finish there. Nothing too major again, but that was not disclosed. And the headstock itself is in really good condition, no issues here. And the final issue here with this guitar is simply the action. As you can see, it's pretty high. Not really sure why it's that high. Not sure if it's because of the nut replacement, or maybe the action had to be raised because the nut was not fitted properly. So again, we'll address that here in a minute. So the first thing I'm going to do here is cut the strings off the guitar. And no, there's no harm in doing it this way, as long as it's not a vintage instrument or anything like that. And I'm also going to go ahead and take off the bridge and tailpiece while we're at it. And finally, in this case, since I'm upgrading the tuners, we're going to go ahead and take the tuning post off. Now we're going to take some warm water and soap. I use Dawn. And we're going to take our bridge and tailpiece, put them in there, and let them sit for a little while. So now let's fit this nut. We're going to go ahead and sand this. I'm using my fret leveling beam since I know that it's a flat surface, but you can use any flat surface. Just make sure that you run it up and down the beam, periodically checking to see how your progress is going and also to check your fitment on the guitar. Remember, we can take material off, but we can't put it back on again. Once we have a good fit, I'm going to use 1000 grit sandpaper to smooth it out nice and smooth. And back to our bridge and tailpiece, we're going to take a toothbrush and scrub all the gunk off of the bridge and tailpiece. And now to polish the frets. For this I'm using Fret Nomad's fine polishing system and just a regular microfiber cloth. So take some of the polish, put it on your cloth, and then take the fret guard, put it over the fret, and go back and forth on the fret. And you'll be able to see the fret shining out pretty nicely as you start doing this. Now we're going to take our Music Nomad F1 oil, or any fretboard polish that you prefer, and a microfiber cloth. We're going to put some of the oil on the fretboard, and then we're going to take our cloth and start cleaning the fretboard. This initial application is just for cleaning purposes. We're going to try to scrub all of the gunk off the fretboard, and then we're going to take some more of the oil and we're going to just dab it on there. And I like to let it sit for approximately 3 to 5 minutes and just let it sink into the fretboard a little bit. And after a few minutes, wipe off the excess. Now we're going to get our new tuners installed. For this I use the D'Addario Planet Waves auto trim tuning machine. They're my go-to because they are not only good tuners, and I like the fact that they cut the strings off automatically, but they're also really good for the price. They're only about $54, I believe, on Amazon as of this video. So now we're going to polish the guitar up. Always put your polish on a cloth, never on the guitar directly, because it could damage the finish. Before we put the strings on, we're going to take some Type-On wood glue and just take a little dab and put it under the nut slot, and that's just going to be just enough to hold the nut in place so it doesn't fall off next time we take the strings off the guitar. And finally, we're going to put our new strings on. So in this case, I'm going to put on the high and low E strings on initially. And the reason why I'm doing that is to make sure that the nut is in the proper position. I'm using the high and low E strings sort of as a straight edge in this situation, just to make sure everything is centered on the neck before I put the rest of the strings on. We have our finished product. Definitely a lot cleaner, a lot nicer than before. You can see here, nice and shiny, no more gunkiness on the bridge and saddles. And now that the strings are back on it and everything's been adjusted properly, the intonation was actually spot on, being that the bridge is now in the right direction and the saddles are facing the right way, so that actually didn't even need adjustment. And just kind of checking out the rest of the guitar, it did clean up really nice, as well as one of these matte finishes could clean up. And moving up the neck, we have our nice shiny frets and our conditioned fretboard. And then finally our new tuners. And also taking a look at the action, it is considerably lower than it had been before. I like it as low as possible. So we'll get a measurement on that right here. And there you have it. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification. That way you'll be notified every time we post new content. And definitely leave a comment down below with any questions, general comments, or even some suggestions that you guys would want to see here on the channel for future videos. Be sure to go over on Instagram and follow us over there at Berscak Custom Guitars. All links are in the description below. Thanks for watching.